We have had meetings as this has come up, but there is no association that's there. I want to speak against the potential to have that property rezoned. There are 31 homes located on Canyon Road and Canyon Lane, and the vast majority of the owners of those homes are represented here tonight. We did ask and agree that we would have a spokesperson so that we would not have lots and lots of people speaking to take up the time. This is our third public hearing to object to this request. We had, and we've tried to be concise in our objections. I would like to ask the people from Canyon Road to stand so that you can see our neighbors that are concerned about this. Also, I'd like to present to you a petition signed by 45 members in the community objecting to this.
You have 38 homes.
31 homes, and those were all adults who live in that community.
We don't have any dissenters in that list.
Sir?
We don't have any dissenters from that list.
Are within the community. First and foremost, our biggest concern is the safety in the area. It is located at the corner of 231 and Canyon Road. Traffic travels at an extremely high rate of speed coming up that hill and down the hill, going towards Montgomery and away from Montgomery. There are no deceleration lanes when you're going northbound with that. We've had people who have been rear-ended at that intersection. We also have a number of people who choose not to turn when there's traffic traveling very fast behind them because it's too dangerous to turn into the street. We're very concerned that if there is a business that increases traffic flow, that if this property is rezoned and a business is established there, it's only going to get much worse. We're concerned about the development of the Crater Center across the street and recognize that that will increase traffic, but it's not into our residential neighborhood as well, and feel like the city will do due diligence as that's developed with that. I do hope you've been able to go by Canyon Road and to see the nature of this property and how it's developed. There's only one way into Canyon Road and one way out to Canyon Road. There is no other way. It is a cul-de-sac area that's there. The property at 25 Canyon Road can only be accessed by turning off of 231 onto Canyon Road. You don't access it off of Highway 231. So it's got to go in that same entrance as the rest of the homes. Again, if a business is located there, our fear is that it will dramatically increase the volume of traffic going into that. 25 Canyon Road was built as a part of the subdivision. It was not established separately, but it's one of the 31 houses that were developed in that subdivision and put together with that. To access, again, that property, you drive into Canyon Road in order to access that property. It's not separate from that. We feel like that's a really important point to be made because there's lots of property along 231 that's being developed, that's being rezoned for business purposes. But the majority of those properties, you enter them off of 231. You do not enter them as a part of a residential area, and that's our main concern with that. We're concerned that bringing a business in will bring in less than desirable traffic into our neighborhood, and it will change the nature of our activities. We have children and adults who walk, ride bicycles, jog around the circle in the neighborhood, who fish at the lake on the side of the road, and we feel that additional traffic would not only bring people into the potential for a business, but they would come on around into the cul-de-sac to see what's back there, and that will endanger our safety and our health and the general welfare of our community. We feel like it would not be an appropriate use of the land in a residential neighborhood, and that it would ultimately sacrifice and decrease our property values. We don't want to restrict anybody's access or ability to do that, but we're greatly concerned because of the way this property is located and developed in a part of our subdivision, that it does not stand alone as many of the other properties do. It is an integral part of our subdivision and will open us up to undesirable influences in our neighborhood. Our biggest concern, as I said, is the safety, not only the safety of turning into the property, but the safety of our neighborhood with increased traffic that may increase the flow. Right now, you don't come into Canyon Road unless you're coming to see one of the people who live on Canyon Road. And if there's business there that's established at the corner, that's going to bring in less desirable traffic into our neighborhood. And on behalf of the residents of Canyon Road, as the spokesperson, I want to urge you to leave the zoning of 25 Canyon Road as residential. We have no objections to it being rental property as it's been, and see no need to have it rezoned with the potential to open it up to other businesses which may devalue our property, change the nature of our neighborhood without us knowing what's likely to go in there. Thank you very much.
I respond to something.
Yes.
With all due respect, and I've been involved in several businesses and own some. The reason there's no access to that property is because it's never been a business. Okay? If you're going to create a business there, DOT is going to require you to get a turn lane. Probably the best thing that would ever happen to y'all is to get a turn lane in that area down there. They're not going to allow you to go in. I just got turned down in business in Tallahassee, Alabama, because there wasn't enough room for a turn lane. They're going to require a turn lane. You're not going to be able to access that property off Canyon Road. I may be wrong, because I haven't been back in that community a whole lot, but isn't there another road outside there that goes out the backside?
No, sir. There's one way in off of 231.
I thought I was in the backside and come out down below the monument.
Like
No.
somebody's got another community.
But there's not going to be people turning in your road if there's a business located there. Look up and down 231 and see how many turn lanes have been put in place. They're not going to allow you to go into a residential setting to have a business in place. They're going to make you have a turn lane. So this thing about safety and people coming into your area down there, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And if you don't believe me, pick up the phone tomorrow and call DOT. I've dealt with them many, many times. They're not going to allow a business to come in there that doesn't have a turn lane. Look down at the Montgomery Marine and the furniture place. Look up and down the street. Tell me how many businesses you have that doesn't require a turn lane there. And they're not going to allow you to turn into a residential area as a business. They're not going to let it happen. You've already got the property on the left side that's already commercial. So what you're fighting me on is not even going to be anything if she decides. She's already offered that property. She offered it to Montgomery Marine the last time they turned her down. She's going to sell that property. So what you're fighting me on is not going to happen. It's a moot issue. I understand safety, and I don't want anybody bothered there. But the reason it's not accessible is because it's not a business. It's a residential house right now. Once it's turned into a business, if it is turned into a business, they got other requirements. It's going to require you to access that property, not through Canyon Road, but on up in the middle of 231, they're going to access it that way. So, I mean, you're already got right on the corner where you turn in, that lot is commercial. And it's in your subdivision. It's lot 1.
It was planted in the subdivision.
Yes.
It is the architecture of that lot is such that you couldn't build any property on it and have it
Big
functional. There's a big ravine in there.
And, excuse me, but let me address that point as well. One of the things that Mr. Carabin had mentioned is that we didn't object to that piece of property when it was zoned commercial. Our understanding is when, I don't have the details of this correct, but at the point when the opportunity was given to folk who live on 231 to be annexed into the city and to be rezoned, that property was done at that point in time. There wasn't a sign or anything. I do understand it was published and there were